It's actually crazy how well this works. I think it progressed me so much faster than had I not done this practice. It just was this toxic thing, and it wasn't me. I wasn't feeling like myself. There are some people spreading like misinformation. I just want to like slap her and also give her a hug. And when I finally found shuffling, I felt like everything changed for me. Hi guys, and welcome back. In today's video, I'm going to be giving you a few tips that I wish I would have known when I first started my shuffle journey. So whether you are just starting your shuffle journey or whether you've been on it for a little while and you kind of just need a little bit of inspiration, this is the perfect video for you. So let's get into it. So the first tip that I have is to daydream of you shuffling. And what I mean by this is think about you shuffling. Like think about you doing the running man. Imagine you doing spins and traveling and doing what you aspire to look like as a shuffler. Start imagining that. And this is something that I did kind of on accident. I just was so obsessed with shuffling when I first started that like anywhere I would drive to or anytime I would listen to music and I wasn't shuffling, I would think about me shuffling. And something that I learned recently, it's really interesting, is that our brains don't understand the difference between a thought and reality. So if you are thinking what you would like to be, if you are thinking how you would like to dance, our brains don't understand if that's real life or not. And so you can really get creative with this and use it sort of as like a meditation practice. Obviously you have to practice, like you can't expect to just imagine it in your head and then it come to life, but it's going to help register what it feels like to shuffle. And I was doing some research on this and I found that there was a study where two piano players, they had them both sitting at like the piano stool. They had things hooked up to their brain, obviously. And one person was playing the piano and the other person was sitting there with their eyes closed, imagining him playing the piano, and it registered the same exact brain waves with one person playing and one person not. So that's actually insane. I didn't realize when I first started doing this that this was actually a thing and that it was going to be such a substantial part of my shuffle journey, but it was. And I think it progressed me so much faster than had I not done this practice. So daydream, daydream, daydream. All right, so the next tip I have for you is to limit your social media exposure with shuffling. And I know when you first get into it, you're just super excited to like follow everybody and see how everybody dances and get inspo. And trust me, I did this, but I realized that about a year later, I started unfollowing people and it was not personal at all. I just feel that less is more, less intake is better. I just felt like the more that I saturated myself inside of what other people were doing, I felt like I needed to dance like that, or I felt like I needed to get on camera and put on a show in order for, you know, like me to feel good about myself, I guess. And it just started becoming like this toxic mentality with shuffling where I felt like I needed to post about my shuffles because that's what everyone else did, or you know, if I didn't post about it then it didn't happen. Or I just also saw how some people would get behind a camera and shuffle and I would see all of these likes on it and I would think, well, I must need to do that as well to get people to like my videos. I need to go out and put on this show. And it just was this toxic thing and it wasn't me. I wasn't feeling like myself. And it's kind of funny because if you go like on my old Instagram post, you'll probably see I would spend like every Sunday of my life out and about filming myself shuffle. And looking back, I'm like, why did I do that? Like, there's nothing wrong with people who do that. I just think it was taking me out of the art. It was kind of making it more about like being glamorized instead of just focusing on the art and focusing on my passion of dance. And so I recommend limiting your social media exposure and follow a couple people, follow people that you really look up to and really learn from them, as opposed to just going crazy, because there's a lot of shufflers out there and I do think that there are some people spreading like misinformation. And so just less is more in that regard. All right, so the next tip that I have is to find your why. And this is something that I talk about so much because your why is why you shuffle. It is the reason that you're even showing up in the first place. And if you don't have your why, that's going to be when you really start getting in like a funk, or when you're feeling like kind of insecure about your shuffles, or like whatever it is you're in your head. It's going to be because you're not centered on your why. It's your mission, it's your purpose. And so for example, for me, like when I first started shuffling, I was dealing with a lot in my relationships with myself, with my mental health. Like I wasn't pursuing my goals, I wasn't pursuing my dreams. I kind of was just in this like monotone, mundane way of living where I wasn't even living. And when I finally found shuffling, I felt like everything changed for me. My relationships changed. I was finally able to like break through some trust issues that I was having, and I felt like I was just like living, and it opened up a lot of doors for me. And it's because I had that intention. I knew that shuffling was the door to my healing journey. It's what opened it for me. And so it's a very personal thing, and without me setting that intention that that's my why, I don't know where I'd be. So find your why, don't forget about it, stick with it. All right, so the next tip I have is to always listen to your intuition. And what I mean by this is like, if you're shuffling and you feel like it doesn't feel like you, it's probably for a reason. There are some styles that I see other people do and I think they look amazing, but when I try and do that specific style, I'm like, oh, I don't feel like me. I struggle getting into a flow, I struggle letting loose. And I think that's for a reason. So tune into it, listen to your body, listen to your soul, listen to your mind, and understand that like, if you're feeling a type of way, it's probably for the greater good. Same thing with music. Like there's music that I see some people dancing amazing to, and if I dance to that music, I just won't get into a flow, and that's okay. So hone in on your style and stick with it, because that's how you're going to like express yourself the most and be the most you. Okay, so the next tip that I would recommend is to have balance with filming and posting, because there was a phase, like I mentioned, sorry, I'm like wearing a cute shirt and a cute cardigan, and I have on like not matching shorts because you can't see. There was a period in my life with shuffling where if I didn't get a good video of me shuffling, it would put me in a bad mood. And if I took a video and posted it and it didn't do very well, it would upset me. And I just like, looking back, I just want to like slap her and also give her a hug, because it's like, that's not why we're shuffling. We're not dancing to get likes, we're not dancing for clout, we're not dancing so people can see us. Like that's not what this is about. And if that's what you want to do, I have to respect that. But at the end of the day, dance is an art. It is not something that we are supposed to be doing it for other people. We're supposed to be doing it for ourselves. So I suggest not building a habit every time you go into the shuffle studio, you film yourself, because then you're gonna think that every time you go, you need to film, because it's gonna be a habit after you do it for so long. It's okay to go shuffle and not film it and not post about it and not talk about it, and just keep it a very intimate experience with yourself. So film every now and then, because I think it's a great tool to look back on and see your growth and learn from the videos, but don't overdo it and don't obsess over it, because once you go down that spiral of obsessing over it, it's hard to get out of it. And thankfully I'm out of that now, but it took me some really low lows to get out of that. So all right, so the next tip I have is to set clear intentions inside of your session. This was something that I did pretty okay at when I first started shuffling. It really probably wasn't until like the 3-month mark when I really started taking it more serious. But setting intentions with your shuffle sessions is how you stay on track and you know like what to focus on inside of that session. Because if you are just going in and you have no design of how the layout of your session is going to go, it's going to get messy and you're going to leave feeling overwhelmed because you didn't know what you accomplished, what you didn't, and it's just going to be like super scattered. So go into it with an intention. Even that intention can be, I'm just going in to have fun. That's great, because then you'll know that's your intention, is to just have fun and nothing else matters. Set the intention on if you're just going to go and flow, or if you're going to go and have a lab where you're going to actually like work on a move. Set an intention. Decide what you're doing before you go in there. And like I said, if your intention is to like have no intention, that's still an intention. So just get clear on what you're doing when you're in there, and it's going to progress you a lot faster towards your shuffle goals. Okay, the next one is a fun one, and it is to shuffle at shows. What I mean is like, get in a shuffle circle, shuffle with other shufflers, put yourself in the community, because that's how you're really going to grow. Because there's a lot of adrenaline that goes into shuffling at shows with people or just with people around you, and that is really going to push you and excel you. Because there's one thing of shuffling in your safety net in your studio with mirrors, and it's in your own time and in your own way. But when you're at a show and you actually have to respect other people's space and you don't know what song is going to come on next and you are around other people who are watching you, it's a great way to grow, even though it's a little nerve-wracking at first. Practice makes progress, and just remember, you're not there to impress, you're just there to express. All right, my next tip is to get really good at the basics, because when I first started shuffling, I think I practiced like the first week I practiced the Running Man and the T-step and the Polly Pocket, and like that was it. And I got decent at it, like okay at it, and then I was like, okay, I'm ready to crunch everything else. That wasn't the best idea, because then I started doing other moves and I got in about 6 months into shuffling and I was like, girlfriend, you look messy. Like my basics looked messy. My Running Man wasn't super smooth and seamless. I was like doing really funky things with my hands, and like I just realized like, okay, we need to take a step back. So we kind of navigated a little all over the place for a while, and that's okay. If you're there, it's okay. Just remember to really get good at the basics first. Like I recommend like the first 6 months of your shuffle journey, just practice the basics. And what I would consider the basics would be the Running Man, the T-step, Polly Pocket, Charleston, and a basic pump spin. That's what I consider the basics, and I have all 5 of those basics on my YouTube channel, so you have no excuse not to learn them. I have them all on there, tutorials, in depth. It's for you. I made it for you. So go watch that if you're interested, but get really good at the basics, because everything else stems off of the basics, and until you can get them really clean, in my opinion, everything else is just a waste of time. All right, and my last tip is to never stop learning. I'm on year 2 of my shuffle journey, and I am still learning. I'm still screen recording people that I watch and learning from them. I'm still watching tutorials, trying to clean things up, and it's because we are always a student first, a teacher second. So learn, and never stop, because that's how you are going to continue to grow. While teaching is a great way to grow, learning is the #1 best way. So never stop learning, no matter how good you get. I don't care if you are the best shuffler in the world, you should still be learning and you should still be working on your craft. So these are all of my tips that I would suggest you doing right now. On another note, I am going to be opening up some shuffle privates soon, so be on the lookout for that. And I'm so glad that we're in this journey together. So hope you liked the video, and I will see you in the next one. Love you guys. Bye.